So Primate was directed by Johannes Roberts, and it's about a group of teens who get together for like a break from school and such, and they go to one of their friends' family home. And at this family home, they happen to have a pet monkey. And the monkey, he's very smart, he's very kind. Well, all of a sudden, he just snaps and starts attacking all these teens one by one. So this is a movie that, admittedly, I was not really looking forward to. Looking into the director, I realized, yeah, I have not really liked any of his movies, so why should I be excited for this new movie that he's doing? And also, the trailers themselves did not really convince me otherwise. And I did see this movie as a mystery screening a few nights ago. And I gotta say, there are times with this movie that honestly I kind of had a good time with it. But there are times where I'm thinking about it and I'm thinking, huh, a lot of it doesn't really make sense. And there are times where I was also thinking, wouldn't it be cool if it went in this direction instead? But again, there are times where this movie can be pretty fun. It can be pretty gruesome. I just want to let you know about that. Even for someone like me who kind of sits through a lot of stuff that can be, that can cross boundaries and such. There are times where I was watching this movie and I'm like, oh, this is just way too much and I don't know if I can take it. But let's dive into it. So, what I really like about this movie is that a lot of the scenes are just filled with tension. Like, you can kind of guess what's going to happen, but at the same time, it's like the way it's set up and it's like how they kind of like play around with like, waiting for the inevitable to happen. It is very interesting to see that happen. And it's like kind of like less about, it's less about what's going to happen. It's like how it's going to happen. And just kind of the waiting is actually kind of more effective in a movie like this. And so when something does happen, it actually is a lot more shocking. The kills in this movie, oh boy, they are brutal. The first couple kills are insane. They're over the top. They are disturbing. And yeah, they're pretty disgusting if I'm being honest. But yeah, I'm not going to forget any of these kills, but at least there's that. I will say that the actor who actually played Ben, I did look this up. They used an actor for the monkey instead of an actual monkey, which, if you see the movie, you can kind of tell. But surprisingly, the actor who played Ben was probably the most human character of the entire movie, as I felt like a lot of the other actual humans in this movie were not very good, but I'll address that. And also, I will say this movie does play a lot like a B movie, and that is a lot of it may not be taken seriously, and you're kind of watching this movie just for some of the absolutely insane moments that this movie has. Like, I can definitely see this movie playing really well for like a midnight screening and such, and people just going absolutely bananas for it. Yes, pun intended. And, again, this movie is not really great. I don't think this movie is even good because there's a lot about this movie that I just did not care for. First off, a lot of the main characters, no, scratch that. All of the main characters suck. They are not interesting at all. They have no character whatsoever. They do throw in some cliches every once in a while for these characters and such, but it's like, oh, this character has a dead parent. It's like, where have we seen that before? Except for every horror movie in existence. And most of the characters, they just suck. Troy Kotzer's in this movie. He won the Oscar for Coda, and he plays a deaf parent to his kids in this movie. Yeah, even he's wasted in this movie. Like, why would you have him in this movie? If I'm being honest, like just for credibility, I don't get it. When your best character is not human, that's kind of a problem. And like, at least he's so creepy and just so disturbing, and it's like, I'm pretty sure everyone would be like, yeah, this monkey deserves everything he's going to get. But all these other characters, you don't give a shit about whatsoever. Also, I was watching this movie and I was thinking to myself, wait, I've seen some of this stuff before, and I won't spoil too much, but it does remind me of a movie that came out a few years ago. A movie starring John Krasinski and Emily Blunt, if you get what I'm saying. And they have similar scenes in this movie from that movie, and I'm like, wait, didn't you just take this from that movie? Oh, you're also taking that from this movie. Wow, you're also taking this from this movie. I'm not asking for a movie like this to be entirely original, but I'm at least asking for this movie to not just steal from other movies and such. And even though that this movie has brutal kills that are absolutely disgusting, a lot of the kills, and particularly the second half, are kind of shrouded in darkness. And I found that to be I was a little mixed about that. Because on one hand, maybe I don't want to see what's really going on. On the other hand, you're kind of showing all this crazy stuff beforehand, and now you're kind of just backing away from it. It kind of doesn't really make a lot of sense. And also, how Ben looks. Now, the monkey itself, you can tell that it was not a real monkey, and that they obviously did some stuff with an actor and such. But the actual look of the monkey looks pretty bad. And I don't know if that's because they're trying to go for that B movie thrill and such, where it's like maybe it doesn't look 100%. But to me, it just kind of like, I don't know. I don't know if I hated it or thought it was at least tolerable, but there are times where it's like, yeah, I can clearly tell that a monkey's not there. Now, I'm not saying they should have had an actual monkey in this movie because that would have been absolutely horrible, considering some of the stuff that actually does happen in this movie. But I felt like it looked pretty bad. And again, I'm not sure if that's intentional or not, which I think that's the best way to describe this movie. What's intentional and what's not. Because, like, there's times where I'm watching this movie and I was kind of laughing, but it was like more of an uncomfortable laughter. But there are times where it's like I'm definitely in my seat, kind of like backing away because, like, okay, that's actually pretty disturbing and such. But also, let's get into the last thing I don't know how I feel about it, is as the explanation of everything that's happening. Now, the movie kind of explains towards the very beginning what happens, which I won't spoil by any means, but it kind of takes away a lot of the mystery from what's going on and such. I feel like the movie would have worked better if either one, they didn't explain it, or two, they kind of explain it, but at the very end, where it's like you kind of want to look back at it and be like, okay, a lot of this does make sense now. Or there could have been a scene where it's like they understand something that's going on with Ben during his whole rampage phase, so the characters take advantage of that. But then again, a lot of these characters are pretty stupid. They're just your stock horror movie characters and such. But it's just kind of frustrating at times. It's like it kind of wants to have its cake and eat it too. And I felt like this movie kind of knew what it wanted to be, but at the same time didn't know what it wanted to be. So it's definitely a movie that I feel like I think people are going to have a good time with this movie. I feel like, again, this could be like a cult following, like a midnight movie crowd. It's like, okay, we're going to just go absolutely into this movie and such. It's just a good time. It's just absolutely silly and ridiculous and over the top and such. For me personally, I can definitely see that. But there are times where I'm watching this movie and I'm thinking, man, wouldn't this be cooler if this went in another direction? Or wouldn't this be cool if they did this differently or something else? And I just feel like it's a January horror movie. That's all I can say. I will say it's the best movie this guy has directed, so that's not really saying much. So Primate, even though the tension's pretty good, there are some pretty gruesome creative kills and such. The actor who played Ben is actually really good. The B-movie thrills are there, but there are times where I was thinking, it's like, man, this would have been interesting if they did this instead. And also, again, the main characters are just awful. They're just stock horror movie characters. The cliches are obvious. They're just really... There are times where I was watching it and I'm thinking, again, I've seen this before in other movies, and it's just very annoying to me. I found it very reminiscent of another movie, ironically from Paramount, I just realized. I don't like how some of the scenes are shot. I don't like how Ben looks. But I can definitely see people kind of enjoying this movie just for the fact that it is absolutely silly and ridiculous. So for that reason, I'm not going to say it's worth skipping by any means, but maybe it would be better if you kind of watched it from the comfort of your home with like a bunch of friends. You're just kind of watching a dumb movie and such. I'll give Primate 2 out of 4 stars. Stream it. So, what is your favorite movie involving monkeys? Kind of interesting question. Comment down below. Subscribe to the channel. This is Pat, and stay safe.